Hello friends, in the previous video of tips, I talked about that there are extensive train networks across Japan. But also the truth is, it can cost a lot if you travel across Japan for the long distances. And something you can consider is getting the rail passes. So Japan has lots of different rail passes, but the most common one is Japan Rail Pass, also called JR Pass, that you can use for across Japan for most of the train lines, including Shinkansen bullet trains. But unfortunately, price went up, and now it's getting a little difficult to get the most out of the pass for the price. So if you hear from your friend who has been to Japan a few years ago, they might think you have to get Japan Rail Pass. But before you jump on purchasing Japan Rail Pass, you might want to wait and see if you really need to purchase Japan Rail Pass for your itinerary. So in this video, I'd like to talk about what kind of route that doesn't pay off with the JR Pass, so you don't have to get the pass. And I also would like to come up with an itinerary and also the pattern of the travel that you can get the most of the Japan Rail Pass. This is number 7 of 30 travel tips of Japan travel. Now let's dive in and start from a quick explanation of what the Japan Rail Pass is. Hello, my name is Kengo and I'm making travel videos from Japan based in Tokyo. I have travel tips videos and travel vlogs from across Japan, so if you like Japan content, please hit the like button and subscribe. If you've been following my channel, you'll hear tens of times, but Japan Rail Pass is issued by JR, which is a former National Railways. And now it's privatized and separate to 6 different companies, and as a whole of JR issuing this Japan Rail Pass, also called JR Pass. So with this pass, you can use the trains across Japan, including Shinkansen bullet trains. It's very convenient, but at the same time, the price is a little expensive, and it doesn't necessarily pay off for your trip. For example, the round-trip price of Tokyo to Kyoto or Osaka by Shinkansen bullet train is less than 30,000 yen. Japan Rail Pass shortest one, minimum cost one, is 50,000 yen for 7 days. So if you just do simply the major travel from Tokyo and Kyoto round trip, you don't need to get the Japan Rail Pass. You can just purchase the ticket either from the JR's website or agency site. So to pay off with the Japan Rail Pass, you have to travel a lot more in short period of time. I wonder how many people travel less than 7 days in Japan. And in case you use for 7 days and you move like every day, it's a good idea. It might pay off. So let's come up with this itinerary idea of 7 days, arriving Tokyo's night airport, go to Tokyo and move to Kyoto and travel to Osaka, Hiroshima, and do 1 night for each places and come back to Tokyo. Not sure if this is the best itinerary to see the Japan, but you don't really have time to relax. But in case this is like a fast trip and you want to see the showcase of Japan, it might be a good idea. And this trip, if you use the Airport Express and Shinkansen bullet train to each distances, it will be almost even with Japan Rail Pass price of 7 days. But in case you travel longer and you don't use this for Airport Expresses, it doesn't pay off. The price of the ticket gets cheaper than Japan Rail Pass 7 days. Tip here is, if in case it's even or a little cheaper to get regular ticket, you might be able to get Japan Rail Pass because it's much easier. You can get the Japan Rail Pass on the Japan Rail's official website, then you can book the ticket online, everything before you come to Japan. And you can book from a month before you travel. In another case, you can also change the trains and you can be on any regular trains that are applicable with the JR Pass. So they can, in case, this is not something recommended, but in case you don't have time and you have to jump on, you don't have to worry about getting on it without ticket. You have the pass, so they assign you a seat, or you can sit on the non-reserved seat. So if you don't have much plan in Japan, but you want to travel around a lot by trains in Japan, it might be a good idea to get it just for fun. Now let's see the price of Japan Rail Pass. Japan Rail Pass has 7 days, 14 days, and 21 days. So 1 week, 2 weeks, and 3 weeks. There are 2 types, regular car pass and also green car pass, which is the name for the first class trains of JR trains. So price of Japan Rail Pass as of 2025 autumn is this. With current exchange rate, the 50,000 yen is about 320 US dollars. 70,000 yen is about 460 US dollars. And for all of them, half a price for children between 6 to 11. Which is better, regular car or green car is, so if I were a traveler, probably I choose green car because you have so much more allowance, and if you get on train many times, maybe it's much more comfortable. And most of the Shinkansen bullet train or long distance intercity train like limited expresses and some in-cities train has a green cars. In Tokyo area, you see the double-decker train for the long-distance commuter train, and that is for green car and you can be on it. So for example, usually Shinkansen has 5 rows, 2 and 3 in one car. So one side has 2 rows of the seats and one side has 3. And green car has only 2, so a little wider seat and much more comfortable. And on Tokaido Shinkansen, only green car you can order drinks and things on the train, like a mobile order, and they bring it for you. In a regular car, there's no way you can get the drink or food, so you have to purchase everything before you get on the trains. But the only thing is, not all car has a green car. You don't get paid back for the difference between regular car and green cars. And some Shinkansen going north of Tokyo has Grand Class, but this one you cannot use the green car pass. You can use your pass for the fare part, which is same for the regular cars. You need to get a separate Grand Class reserved seat ticket. In case you use a regular car pass, you can just hop on the non-reserved seat. But for green car, there's no non-reserved green car. Green car is all reserved seat, so you have to get your seat assigned. You can use online or at the machine at the station too. Even if it's a regular car pass or green car pass, for Tokaido Shinkansen going to Tokyo to Kyoto, Osaka and further, you can only be on the Hikari or lower trains, which is you cannot use the fastest service called Nozomi, which runs very frequently and fastest service to Kyoto, Osaka to Fukuoka, and from Osaka to further to Kagoshima. But unfortunately, you cannot use this Nozomi. You can use any other services like Hikari and Sakura, which stops a little more station, stops 2-3 more stations than Nozomi, but only like 20 minutes difference and you arrive the destination. Probably the most kind of important thing is it runs only every 30 minutes, while Nozomi runs every like 10 minutes or more. There's no direct train from Fukuoka to Tokyo by Hikari, so you have to change either at Okayama or Osaka once and change it to the next train. Now Nozomi has only 2 cars of non-reserved seat, but Hikari has a lot more, so it's much easier to just hop on trains. So now we found out that in the regular schedule or itinerary going round trip from Tokyo to Kyoto, Osaka, or even if you add some itinerary like Hiroshima, it still doesn't pay off. And if you add like a airport services round trip, finally maybe it becomes almost even. With what kind of itinerary it's worth getting Japan Rail Pass. So Japan Rail Pass cannot be used in the selected 7 days. It has to be consecutive 7 days. So kind of key factors to pay off for the Japan Rail Pass is use Night Airport or Kansai Airport and use a train like Night Express and Haruka from Kansai Airport. Another very important factor is you stop a lot on the way. So if you go to Tokyo to Kyoto round trip, it will be less than 30,000 yen, I said. But if you stop many times on the way, like Odawara, Shizuoka, Nagoya, or more, it can be a lot more expensive. So in case you stop a lot on the way, the JR Pass is very convenient to definitely start to pay off for your trip. The last factor that you might want to get Japan Rail Pass is using Tokaido Shinkansen connecting Tokyo to Kyoto, Osaka. This is because other regional areas and Shinkansen are covered by regional passes by each JR company. For example, JR West is issuing lots of different regional passes for international travelers, and you can use Sanyo Shinkansen, and that is running from Osaka and West. But only Tokaido Shinkansen, Tokyo to Kyoto, Osaka, is not including any regional passes, except this Japan Rail Pass. So definitely JR Pass get more valuable in that kind of itinerary. Tokyo to Kyoto has another way to go, which is like Hokuriku Shinkansen, going via Sea of Japan side, And that is covered by JR East and West joint rail pass called Hokuriku Arch Pass. And it's much more reasonable than 7 days Japan rail pass. So in case you travel between Tokyo and Kyoto, Osaka, and you travel for 7 days, this is one great pass that you can consider. The only thing is you have to go around, so it's great when you stop on the way, but you cannot come back by Tokaido Shinkansen. And for regional passes, we talk later in different videos. And on the other hand, the factors that probably you don't need a JR pass or minimize the possibility that you can get the most of the JR pass is use lots of private railways. Japanese trains is not just JR, and in short distances or regional trains, there are many private railways. If you go to take a one-night trip or day trips from Tokyo, like going to Nikko, Hakone, Mount Fuji, and also from Osaka to Mount Koya, Ise-Shimas, many of them are operated by private railways, so you cannot use Japan Rail Pass. Sometimes there's a JR train going into private railways, like Kawaguchiko, like Izu. At the end of the route of the train, it uses the private railways system. Even with the JR Pass, it's not covering those regions or those part of the private railways. So I've seen the scene that when the Japan's border opens and there wasn't much information, people use the JR Pass for the Fuji excursion, and they try to travel in Fuji-Q, but they were charged the train. And I've seen twice in the past as that they are suddenly asked to pay for the private railway, because it is confusing, because the gate is the same JR, and depends on some JR's regional passes allows you to be on the private railway. You are unconsciously in the private railway's kingdom, and when you leave the station, you are asked to pay for the part of the going through the private railways. Of course, it doesn't matter to pay, it's not a big amount, but it's not a good feeling that you have to pay for something unexpected, right? So I think it's something you might want to know. In case you're staying in Tokyo and Osaka, or where there are lots of private railways, and also just to single one round trip from Tokyo to Kyoto or Osaka, it might be the major factor that your Japan Rail Pass might not worth it. So based on this, I made this route from Tokyo to different parts of Japan and come back to Tokyo in 7 days. So you go to Takayama, Kyoto, Osaka, Hiroshima, Fukuoka, Nagasaki, come back to Tokyo. So it's 7 days. So it's 8 days, but last day after Tokyo you don't use the rail pass. So 7 days you can use Japan Rail Pass. Let's calculate with a green card. As I said, I recommend a green card. And in this case, it's 115,390 yen for 7 days. So it easily pays off with 7 days green card pass, which is 70,000 yen. So you save more than 40,000 yen. As you see, it might be very busy moving every day long distances. But actually for this itinerary, even 14 days pass, that is 110,000 yen, it pays off. This route pays off a lot because you move long distance all the way to Nagasaki, and also you stop a lot in the middle and get off Shinkansen. So that is the reason this route pays off. And also you are not using private railway for this route. So it depends on how you make the itinerary, Japan Rail Pass still worth a lot. Now you might wonder how you can calculate if it's worth or not for your trip to get JR Pass or not. And there are similar ways, and one is to use like a site like a jrpass.com and find there's a fare calculator that you can find out the approximate fare of the route you like to take. And it comes out that if it's worth getting JR Pass or not. If you like to see more details, like a time schedule and if there's a train available between this to this, maybe you can go to a site like a Japan Travel by Navitime, and so you can find out exact timetable and also see the price for your train. And also I checked the ChatGPT and Gemini to see if it works, to check if it's worth or not, and it was mostly precise. So that is something you can try to get approximate ideas if it's worth or not. And Shinkansen is again to move fast. There are lots of tunnels and sometimes the view is blocked. So I went to Kagoshima and one person I don't know talked to me that he came to Kagoshima. I flew to Kagoshima, but he came by Shinkansen. It was his dream to come to Kagoshima all the way by Shinkansen, but it was very tiring because there were so many tunnels, and he couldn't see as much as he thought it would be. So that was something I heard. It's his opinion, but that's something good to know, so you don't get disappointed. And maybe you can consider the local regular trains too. So when it comes to the regular trains or local trains, something convenient might be the regional passes issued by different JR companies, like JR West, JR Kyushu, JR East, JR Hokkaido. They all have a different regional passes. In the future video, I'd like to make a video about it, which I made this video, but I might be able to make a new one. But meanwhile, probably you can get lots of hints from this video. So now you know about Japan Rail Pass more and what your choice is. Either getting Japan Rail Pass or get the regional pass or just buy tickets. Thank you for watching. Have a great trip to Japan.